And then on the 8-week scan, we went in and the doctor said, one healthy baby, one healthy heartbeat. But hold on, I think there's someone else in here. And then moved the camera around and there was another another little baby in there. He said, twins, congratulations. My partner told him to piss off. So yeah, I'm Frank, and I currently have a website and Instagram account called Beta Twin Dad. So yeah, my partner and I, we'd been together for 8 years, and much like anyone else, I'm sure, started to have conversations about when would be the right time to start a family. So a couple of years ago, we decided to start trying for babies and to make a family. And around the kind of 3-4 month mark, when we hadn't been successful, we hadn't got pregnant that month, we started to get more and more stressed about the situation. The trying for a baby became more and more prominent rather than it just being something kind of special that we were going through together. And around the 7-8 month of trying and being unsuccessful, we reached out to our GP and both had tests to see where we were at. Results came back that I was infertile or had low amount of semen, low motility. So there was some sperm there, so it wasn't azoospermia, it was just that my fertility was very low, but it was low enough that the doctor at the time said that it was unlikely we were going to conceive naturally. It's very difficult to raise it as a conversation. Like if me and you were just mates and sitting down the pub, you're not going to ask me how I'm getting on, like what's your fertility like at the moment. So in order to talk about it openly, you have to raise that as a subject. So I think that just more needs to be done to be able to give men the tools to be able to talk about it, or give them a group that people can talk about it. I went to a semen analysis on Monday. As I say, I'm still trying to figure out what it is my issue. And this time round, I was able to make eye contact with the nurse that took my sample. But actually, that was a real opportunity for her to say to me, is this something that you're worried about? Like, do you want more information? Here's a leaflet. If you're a bit worried about talking to this with anybody, like here's a group on Facebook if you're on Facebook, or here's a number. And I didn't get that. And I think that more needs to be done. The doctor at the time that I spoke to was obviously through NHS and had mentioned that we would be able to get an appointment with someone from the NHS and talk about IVF. And that would be the route that we should look at. We then started to think about whether or not going private would, one, be a financial option, or two, be more suitable. We Google searched in the area, clinics, IVF clinics in London, and ARGC was one that kept on coming up. And we read lots of the reviews, lots of the statistics, and thought that we should get kind of the first call with a doctor. And so when we spoke to the doctor or the nurse from ARGC that first time around, she was saying that she was very confident in us being able to get to a result, and that result may be children. So ultimately, I think in that first call, we had enough of the kind of, I guess it was just a sense of confidence that this could happen based on our situation, based on my partner's age, based on the sperm that I had. She mentioned ICSI. We felt very happy with ARGC and thought we would do it. So I've later on, part of my Beta Twin Dad stuff is all around kind of the male infertility factor, and yet my part in the process of what to come was very minimal, in the sense that my partner as the female had to go through all the kind of major investigations and major testings, and once we kind of got through to the stage of going on the first cycle, it was all down to my partner, and I was just there for kind of moral support. I think I'm right in saying there was 9 embryos that we had all together. We used one embryo to transfer one embryo. My partner's always better at the language that we should be using. With ARGC, again, once that was transferred, we had a couple of early scans. So I think we had a 5-week scan, 6-week scan, and then an 8-week scan. On the 5th week scan, one healthy baby, one healthy heartbeat, everything was fine. Went in the following week, one healthy baby, one healthy heartbeat, everything was fine, which was great. And then on the 8-week scan, we went in and the doctor said, but hold on, I think there's someone else in here. And then moved the camera around and there was another, another little baby in there. But ultimately we had then in July 2022, we had 2 boys, now Ezra and Theo. And I think at the time, like it moved so quickly, like I've had lots of conversations afterwards with people. And I think with ARGC, as I say, it always felt right in the sense of the amount of information. Whenever we asked questions on ARGC, on any of the calls or any of our appointments, they were listened to, but sometimes we were told the answer. Sometimes we were told, let's look at that after this. You know, the first thing that we need to do here is this test. Try not to think about that because we're going to do this, this, and this. And it just really was reassuring that it was like this confidence in, no, you don't need to do that right now. You don't need to know that right now. What you need to do is just build yourself up for this one. When we had these beautiful, beautiful boys, the kind of weight then falls on the mum. Like in any situation, I think there's always, you know, her mind worked differently to mine. If the boys were in the room, one of them was crying, I could deal with it. But if something was happening, when I left the room, I could think about the next thing. I could think about whatever I was leaving the room for. Whereas my partner, and I'm sure lots of mums out there will say the same, that their mind is just constantly going. I always use that Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting, where he's on that massive board and he's writing the equations. It's all about kind of nap times, milk measurements, how they're sleeping. You know, is it the right time to put them down for a nap? Is it the right time to wake them? Are they eating enough? Are they growing enough? And I think it's for dads out there. I think it's making a conscious effort to be the person like you're able to support partner and be able to make decisions without always asking, because it can be really irritating if you're constantly saying like, is that the right amount of milk? Is this the right amount of thing? Like, is this the right time to change a nap? So I've always tried to be a bit one step ahead. I've always tried to make sure that, yeah, I'm doing as much as I can. And I think I've been part of kind of dads groups and reading up different stories about people's situations, getting involved in kind of questions and answers and stuff like that. And I think that the most difficult and challenging part being a dad is like that bit at work where you're kind of with the boys in the morning, then I have to leave, no matter the kind of chaos that's happening at the time or whatever, whether they're screaming, whether they're really happy, I've got to go and then get my head into work until I go home in the evening. And then it's almost like I say goodnight to the team of people that I manage in work, and then I walk through the door and have to kind of relieve Frankie from whatever day she's had, help out them with the boys before bedtime. So that's been the really difficult and challenging bit. It's kind of like being present, trying to make sure that I'm not knackered, not checking work emails, you know. It's like, but it's been beautiful. It's been so amazing. And the beauty with twins again is the first time that they shared a smile with each other, the first time that they laughed together. The first time that they held hands, the first time that they now we're getting into the kind of crawling phase. They're standing up and going to walk, and you see them and like they can be playing really nicely together. They can be following each other, chasing the cat, whatever. There are those times where they're like pulling each other's hair, nicking each other's toys and whatnot. But you go in the morning and they're there in their cot. One of them will be awake and the other one will wake up and spot them from across the room and they start giggling. Like, it's beautiful, perfect.